Okay, in this video series we're going to take a look at the 3D modeling of the Vica bracket. Right now you're taking a look at the final drawing presentation. Okay, this is showing you several of the standard engineering views, which include the top, the front, the right, and the left, as well as an isometric view. Now typically we would be able to do this in 2D using the tools to represent isometric as well as the other engineering views. But what we're going to try to do today is take a look at first the workspace and commands, UCS and views, and how to utilize 2D geometry in order to create the solid model that you see here. And as an example, if I show you, this is going to be the solid model that you'll be able to develop. What you'll want to do first is understand how to determine the general shape or form, and to use the tools and the views in AutoCAD to establish this basic extrusion first, and then work on the individual faces using your UCS commands and views together with your 2D geometry to produce the edits to the solid model and reveal the features that you see here. Ultimately, what you'll be able to do in the next part is make a presentation. And for that, what you'll be doing is using the paper space in order to automate the projection of your standard engineering views based on the model. And that would include also the accurate and correct representation of all of the features in every view provided. So where you have features that are visible in one view, they need to be shown correctly as hidden features, for example, in another view. And by creating a solid model and using the presentation tools to show the orthographic projections of that model, you'll be able to use AutoCAD to do that correctly and precisely. So let's take a closer look at the tools we'll be using. And again, if I just refer you to our notes here, let's take a look. Sorry, that's not the one. Alright, so here you can see the sample in our notes. And as we go up, I want to talk about the workspace and commands that we'll be taking a look at and using. Also how to locate and use and establish the UCS and views. And then as we start modeling, we'll talk about what 2D geometry to use, how to create regions, and how to edit the solid model. So when we're talking about our workspace and commands, we want to take a look at the 3D modeling workspace. Okay? And we want to focus our attention on several tabs of the ribbon that contain the tools that we'll be using. So for example, what I'm going to be doing here is using our class template, right? Our class mechanical template here. You can see in the paper space we have several layouts, and I'll switch over here to the model since that's where we'll be working. But in order to use the appropriate interface here, or workspace, take a look at the status bar. In the bottom right hand corner here, you'll see the little gear wheel, and there's where you'll see your selection for your 3D modeling. Now I've created my own workspace, and we've already talked about how to customize that so you can personalize it yourself. But if we just take a look at the 3D modeling workspace, okay, you can see here we've got in the Home tab, we have the modeling panel. We also have the solid editing panel, and then we have the draw and modify panels. Okay, the draw and modify panels, these are your regular 2D geometry tools, right, that you're pretty familiar with. And those are the ones we're going to use to create the profiles to render our features. Additionally, here you can see in the coordinates panel, this is where we're going to be utilizing the 3-point UCS. This is how we're going to be able to establish our UCS on the individual faces. And we'll also be able to use the named UCS dialog box to save those UCSs and be able to recall them at will. Additionally, if you take a look at the view panel here, with the view panel we'll be able to see the model as a 2D wireframe or even as a solid shaded. So we'll be taking a look at this later. Additionally, we have our layers here. Based on our template, we'll be able to switch layers to develop the geometry in the correct layer and have our model organized. Basically, we're going to be working in the 3D layer here. Okay, I might have to adjust the colors as we continue, but I'll go ahead and do that. Also, if you take a look at our, let's see, if you look over here at the View tab, again, you'll see the same tools that we were just referring to, but in a different organization. When you look at views here, you can quickly switch between any of the standard views or presets that we have available, as well as next to it in the coordinates, again, you'll see the 3-point UCS and the UCS dialog. Okay, and next to that is where we have the visual styles, and here you'll have the pull down to change the model appearance in the drawing window. Okay. Alright, so now you'll also notice that I don't have my menu bar here, but that's why I have my own personalized 3D Basics workspace setting. Okay. Now this is very basic. It has a lot of the other tools that we aren't going to be using, but I'll keep it in the previous one just so it's familiar to you, and then later on you'll be able to customize as you wish. So one of the things I like to do here is if I use my 3D modeling, okay, I also like to show the menu bar. Alright, and the purpose for that is I like coming over here to use the viewports to create multiple viewports, but I also have access to my formatting and also to my other tools that are much more easily accessed with the menu pull down there. Okay, but it's up to you. Just organize your space so that you have all the tools, right? So we're going to continue working in the model, and we'll start developing with our base profile.